Even though Europe is the second smallest continent in the world, it attracts more than half of all tourists globally. In fact, out of the 10 most visited countries, 7 are in Europe. It's clear why so many people choose to visit. Europe has a rich cultural heritage, interesting history, safety, and great transport systems that make traveling easy. Here's a look at some of the best places to visit in Europe. Let's begin. Vienna was once the center of the Habsburg Empire, and it is filled with grand buildings and palaces that show the great wealth and power of its past rulers. Today, it is the capital city of Austria and is a wonderful place to explore. Known as the City of Music, many famous composers lived here, including Mozart, Beethoven, and Schubert, who all walked its streets and created beautiful music. When you see Stonehenge, you cannot help but admire the hard work of ancient people. The building of this site began around 3000 BC, and it started on what was originally a burial site. Massive stones weighing 25 tons each were brought from 150 miles away to the location a few hundred years later. It is not clear how many large rocks were moved to this field near Amesbury, but today there are 13 standing tall. The reason for building Stonehenge is still unknown, but many believe that it is linked to early astronomy and the study of stars. Egypt has its famous pyramids, but Italy and Switzerland have a natural pyramid of their own, the Matterhorn. Standing at 14,692 feet high, this well-known mountain is one of the tallest in Europe. The Matterhorn has 4 steep sides and each one is just as rough. This legendary mountain has been a favorite among climbers ever since the first successful climb in 1865. During the summer, around 150 people try to reach the top every day. If climbing isn't for you, don't worry. Those who prefer to stay on the ground can enjoy looking at the mountain, especially when the peak plays hide and seek with the clouds. Budapest was already a city when the Hungarians arrived in the 9th century. Now Budapest is the capital and biggest city of Hungary. Between the time the Hungarians took over and now, the city was ruled by different groups, including the Mongols and Ottomans. Known as one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, Budapest is home to the Museum of Fine Arts, which has more than 100,000 pieces of art. Make sure to check out the old town in the center of the city, where you can find many museums, churches, palaces, and the Parliament building. Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, is located on the Tagus River by the Atlantic Ocean. This great location inspired explorers to travel far and wide in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries. One of the must-see places is the Belém Tower, a fortress built in the 16th century on the north bank of the Tagus River. If you want to see great views of old Lisbon, visit St. George Castle, which was built on a hilltop by the Moors. You might not know many people who have been to Iceland, but it's worth going there to see the amazing Gullfoss waterfalls. Located in southern Iceland, Gullfoss is one of the most popular tourist spots in the country. Sometimes it looks like a glacier, which makes sense because it gets its water from one. The waterfall starts when the Ölfusá River turns sharply and then flows down a 3-step staircase into a canyon that is 115 feet deep. Athens is a city that has been lived in since the 5th century BC. It introduced the idea of democracy and is known as the birthplace of Western civilization. Many important sites can be found in the Old Town, especially around the Acropolis. Some of these sites include the Temple of Zeus, the Theatre of Dionysus where plays by Sophocles were performed, and the Parthenon, which sits at the top of the Acropolis. If you want to see beautiful scenery, look no further than Kotor Bay in southwestern Montenegro. This bay, which is part of the Adriatic Sea, is simply stunning, surrounded by mountains and featuring small villages nestled between cliffs and the beautiful blue water. Several well-preserved medieval towns can be found around the bay. People come here not only to enjoy the views but also to visit the many Orthodox and Christian churches located among the villages. For nearly 900 years, Moscow has been the capital of Russia. Because of this long history, the city has a lot to offer people who visit. A great place to start is Red Square, which is from the 15th century. This square has many important sites around it. One of the top landmarks is the Kremlin, which used to be a fortress and now has museums and is where the President of Russia works. In the middle of the square is Lenin's tomb, and on one side is the famous St. Basil's Cathedral, known for its onion-shaped domes and now a museum. Venice is a perfect place for romantics who enjoy riding along the Grand Canal in a gondola while a singer performs Italian love songs. This city is where Marco Polo started his journey to China. Begin your visit in San Marco Square, the most famous square in Venice. Here you can see the Doge's Palace, which used to be the government's home in Venice, and St. Mark's Basilica, the main church in the city, where you can enjoy beautiful views from the tower. Venice is also well known for its bridges that cross the canals. If you are looking for glitz and glamour, Monte Carlo is the place to be. It is the main city in the small country of Monaco, which is famous for being luxurious. The glamour grew even more when Prince Rainier married actress Grace Kelly. Located on the Mediterranean Sea, Monte Carlo is famous for fast car races and its upscale casino. Stroll along the harbour to see the fancy yachts owned by wealthy and famous people. The Alhambra is one of the great wonders of Spain. It is a beautiful palace and fortress complex located in Granada, in the Andalusia region in southern Spain. This impressive complex began as a small fortress in the late 9th century, built on the ruins of an old Roman fortress. Later it was taken over by Christian rulers, and is where Christopher Columbus received permission to explore the New World. The mix of different architectural styles over the years is amazing. You can find impressive art and beautiful gardens throughout the complex. If it weren't for Florence, the Renaissance might not have happened. Florence is often thought of as the city that helped bring Europe out of the Dark Ages with great artists like Michelangelo. You can see his works at the Uffizi Gallery or the Accademia, which shows the famous statue of David. Enjoy a gelato while walking along the Ponte Vecchio that crosses the Arno River. Check out the amazing wealth of the Medici family at the Pitti Palace. Be amazed by the early engineering that built the Great Duomo. This is Florence at its best. People who love English history will really enjoy London. This city on the River Thames is full of palaces, from Buckingham Palace to Hampton Court Palace. The Tower of London is more of a prison than a palace, but it holds the crown's jewels. From Knightsbridge, don't miss the fantastic food halls at Harrods to Carnaby Street. The shopping is really good. You can get around London quickly and easily by taking the famous tube. Amsterdam is a lovely city filled with winding canals and tall, narrow houses. It is the city where Anne Frank wrote her famous diary, so visiting the house where she lived is a must. This Venice of the North is also known for its great art, starting with the Rijksmuseum, which holds important European masterpieces, Rembrandt's house, and the more modern Van Gogh Museum. Take a break from sightseeing to visit and taste Holland's beer at the Heineken Brewery. And there you have it, 10 beautiful cities in the world that are a must-see. Whether you're into nature, history or architecture, these places offer unforgettable experiences. Where will your next adventure take you? Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more travel tips. See you next time.